welcome now, Stock Trades. Hey, it's nighttime. It's actually 9:57 uh, p.m. in Arizona here, so it's not too late in Arizona. But I know you guys on the East Coast, it's pretty late here. So yeah, I just wanted to do kind of a very quick night live here. Yeah, I'm doing some questions and studying and working on some stuff in my pre-anticipation for sub internship, and I wanted to just kind of share with you guys some thoughts. So yeah, Roaring Kitty had his life today. A lot of people, had mixed feelings about it, and yeah, I mean, it was just it was pretty fun live, and the beginning was hilarious. Um, just human being, smart one, doing his thing, and yeah. So obviously, my investment philosophy with Keith is completely different. I like to focus on intrinsic value. Uh, Especially if it's I would say I have has a high margin of safety uh in terms of like the current evaluations of where GameStop is. I would say it's I would have to do an intrinsic value on it, but I think it's overvalued. um but I wanted to just kind of point out a couple things here. So, and I don't like to mix my personal life with investing, but I think there's some parallels. Because Keith did, so like Roaring Kitty, he did say something that was that I resonated with, and that is what also Warren Buffett also looks at, is the management team, the management side of the business. And you look at management and you see, like, is this, can these people do the job that needs to be done to execute the mission of the company, shareholders, et cetera, et cetera. And it's funny because if you look at this article here on May 7th, this individual here posted a title saying 3 healthcare stocks to sell in May. So make sure you sell them in May, before they crash and burn. And interestingly, it's like Clover Health was number 1, CVS was number 2, and then Walgreens was number 3. And we already know that Clover has some form of collaboration with Walgreens and maybe even CVS. It's just funny how May 7th, the day, a couple days after it started to go up, they do a hit piece trash article right before or the day of earnings. And then we found that earnings was actually pretty good. There's a lot of great things to see in the future. And then it basically shot up. And, I'm speculating here, but what happens if Clover got a deal with both of these companies for their SaaS business? I don't know. But all I'm saying here is, in life, and I've personally experienced this, I don't know if you have, but like, do you know how many doubters I've had in this lifetime? Like, holy shit, guys. You know how many people have doubted just the willpower of just someone's just dreams and aspirations. It's a lot. I remember when I was in high school, and if you guys don't, like, some of you guys know, I used to be homeless, right? So in high school, when I was 15 and 14, 15, 16, 17, in that era, a little bit on 18, I used to work as a high school cafeteria cashier while in high school. You're like, how? Yeah. So where I went, you could go there, and because you don't make that much, I get like $20 every 2 weeks, which is a lot pre-inflation back then. But I got free food, which is something important. Even though it wasn't the best food, it was food. But it's funny because you can imagine high school. Everyone thought I was going to be unsuccessful, like high school, right? Everyone in high school, right? Everyone in high school thought, because you could kind of think of Wall Street in the news like high school, right? So everyone thought I was not successful. I'm going to always be working there. I'm going to be basically just working as a high school cafeteria cashier my whole life, right? And nothing against people that do that. I'm just saying that's what people thought I was going to do as a 15-year-old, not knowing what I was learning at a young age. Uh, the It's kind of funny. You look at my resume now, and I have all these awards and degrees. And my first job, high school cafeteria cashier. I'll show it to you guys sometime. Uh, Now hindsight, out of all my high school graduates and overall from my high school I came from, I'm going to be the only medical doctor that graduated from there. That's just crazy. And obviously, since I'm that, I'm also going to be the first aspiring neurosurgeon to come out of there. So I like this because, there's some parallels to investing. And, you know, it's hard to find companies that, because, in terms of, what's that guy? Iceberg of consciousness, right? I think this is a good example. So you know how, like, I think this is Sigmund Freud theory. I think a good picture would probably be this. This is a nice, simple picture. Sigmund Freud was talking about how, the conscious mind is very, and shout out to Penn State. I like them a lot. The conscious mind is up here, and it's really is just it's a small part of our life where we have something deeper in. If you were to apply that to the stock market, you'll see Apple, Nvidia, Tesla, Meta, all of the like well-known stocks up here. But down here, you'll basically see some stocks that really no one talks about. Stocks like, for example, Enphase and all these other great ones that we've called out. And I believe Clover is one of them. And the issue with this world we live in is by the time people actually believe it, it's too late to invest in it. So, like, I'll give you an example. As I was struggling to make things work, to make ends meet, to get an education, I didn't really have a lot of people on my sidelines at the early stages of my life, right? With the combination of media and everything, people learned about me, but in the beginning, it was a lot of loneliness journey towards trying to find meaningful things to do to impact and change the world. And I really draw, a lot of folks like that are neurosurgeons. I've seen them say, they draw parallels in investing, parallels in golfing, which I don't really see. I tried golfing. My significant other plays way better than me. I'll keep trying. I golfed so hard one time that I hit the ball and the rubber hurt my skin and it peeled off some of my skin. I know that sounds disgusting. So maybe I golfed a little too hard. People said sailing. Somehow they draw parallels. I can kind of see that. But well, I mean, hey, AI doc. Yeah, I know I do sleep, but it's only 10. It's only 10 p.m. right now in Arizona. So I mean, it's not that late, guys, Now, if I was doing a live at 2 a.m., maybe probably right? But I think Clover's down here right now. And if I were to say, maybe there might be some simmer of just kind of water, like sprinkles of water popping out to the conscious mind now, like Lee Rinks and some people on Wall Street. They're starting to figure out like this thing may actually work. Oh, yeah, it's 1 AM there? Oh, that sucks, dude. You know what sucks, though? If I'm submitting an abstract for a scientific conference, it pisses me off that the deadline is, like, Eastern Standard Time, and, like, they make us in Arizona like, it's a lot earlier in Arizona. So, like, when they make us work harder, it's because we have to, like, stay accustomed to everyone's time. Very deep conviction and trust, Doc. I hope we do get a lot of success with Clover regarding its value. One day it will go. Yeah, I mean, honestly, so just kind of, I had some articles I wanted to show you. Um, so Anna, she buys 25,000 um at 96 per share, 96 pennies, around that, 15,000 shares, another 10,000. So the average around 90-ish pennies, right? Um, if you were to ask yourself, okay, well, maybe she wants to make $1 million out of this, because that's a good number. Yeah, based off of this share count, yeah, it'll get you $50 stock price. No, sorry, $40 stock price, which is around what we calculated a lot many years ago. But that's just kind of a speculative thing to do. I just find it interesting now because there's a lot of articles now saying, hey, they're starting to catch it. Why are these insiders buying? There's these, insiders buying, early on, and then all of a sudden they release a SaaS business. And if you look at kind of year to date, Clover's up, 14.58%. Humaina's down 25.16%. United Healthcare is down 9.03%. So Clove, in terms of all the healthcare insurance companies right now, except Oscar, Clove is in the lead. So let me drink a sip of my water here. Nice. So, and we're talking about kind of SaaS, and we will all shock them once Clove jumps. Absolutely. Because when they were growing at $3 billion, their gross margins right here, right? Their gross margins was 3.3%. Now Clover's gross margins are a lot higher. Their operating income is less negative. Obviously, operating margins is less negative. Net income now is still unprofitable, but that's going to change with its profitable side of the SaaS business. I mean, we said that the only way this is going to work out is if they double down on their Medicare Advantage side that's profitable, or in terms of the MCR, or they find a new revenue stream. And you know what? They've done that. So now we have to see that play into action. Here's the shares, 486, free cash flow. I mean, so the thesis is about to change. Let me just kind of give you an example here, because I sometimes I always like to look at other companies and study them, because you can learn a lot of lessons from companies here. So this is Enphase, right? In 2017, no one wanted Enphase. If you look at the shares, they diluted their shareholders. I mean, by 2016 to 2018, they diluted them by 100%. Gross margins were good. Revenue wasn't increasing at all. In fact, revenue went down. Earnings per share got better, though, less negative. Operating margins became less negative. Net income became less negative. Free cash flow became less negative. Working capital increased a little. 2017 was the best time to invest in Enphase. And that was because it hit 72 cents. A lot cheaper right now than what Clove is, but even though Clove hit 60. And it's interesting, and we've done this exercise multiple times, and I just find it's so fun to look at, because it's just kind of the whole thing. I find some similarities here, because like when everyone thought I was just going to end up working at a cafeteria cashier my whole life, people don't know your worth, only people on the inside. Like Anna, who bought the shares, or like Andrew Toy, who has conviction. This company started off at $7, and then all of a sudden it dropped to $2. Sorry, $1.99. Then it went up. People got excited, and yay, it's going up. Like $9, man, from $2 to $9. Excuse me. Then it, dropped a little bit. Then it went all the way up to $17. People were like, "That's it." There's some people that bought at that top. It fell down back to 12. They're like, "Oh shit, hold the line." It went up to 15. Great decision. Dropped down to 12. Oscillated back and forth, and we're like, "Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna keep the bottom has to be $11." And then they keep buying. Oh God, it's a sale. $9, $9. You know the chatter people do. $8. Oh, this is a one of a lifetime opportunity. Buy more, buy more. Oh, it keeps dropping. Then the despair starts to happen. Screw this company. This is a terrible company. I hate this company. $1.71. Oh my God. I bought this company back when it was $2, back, over here, right? And then I'm going to buy back again. Yay, I made the right decision, right? And then it oscillates, doesn't really do anything for like months. And then all of a sudden it drops more, $1.14. Like, oh my God. They do a share dilution. It drops even more right around sometime here. Where the hell is it, guys? There it is. May 19, 72 cents it drops. And that was the best time to buy. Because then all of a sudden, it rebounds to $1, $2, $5, $5, $6, $15, $17, $24, $26, $30, $32, $45, $76, $109, $116, $164, $212, 100 drops down, 120 back up to $251, and that's when I initiated my sell there, right? And then $300, $336, and but again, and then now everyone's trying to like ride this wave, but the real time to do it is when no one believed. In fact, there's a little piece of information here. They still have the article here from 20. Enphase market share gains and strategic investments are positive, but significant risk remains. Shout out to our mastering student for showing me this. Despite the company's strong market position, raising recent capital raise, like I told you, how do I know that? Because they diluted shareholders here. And that's what we teach in the mastering stock market. I mean, it's all in the numbers, guys. The numbers tell you the story. Anywho, uncertainty also exists in the U.S. residential solar market in 2017, which has slowed in select states. Ladies and gentlemen, you make money on uncertainty. Uncertainty is where opportunity lies. And some people get that. Some people don't. Some people at the first sign of resistance, they give up. I could have given up so many times in my life, but I decided to keep going. And these are attributes that you want in a hopefully, fingers crossed, aspiring neurosurgeon, aspiring physician. These are attributes that you look for because you want someone who doesn't give up, someone who doesn't, shy away from the first sign of defeat. I'm not saying go follow a company blind to hell. No, conduct your investment thesis. I've said it multiple times. Government doesn't want to deal with this Medicare issue, so they want to offset it to private companies with their Medicare Advantage plans that is transitioning more to PPO. And I just find it so funny because I'm in the hospital and we have all these facts. And if you mention Medicare Advantage, a lot of doctors get upset. I hate Medicare Advantage. And I just find sometimes doctors are so smart that they're stupid. And it's a shame. They have all this education, but yet when common sense knocks at the front door, they're so blind to see that this is one of the greatest opportunities that you could find in the market now. So at least this is in my opinion, right? So, let's see. We will need 2 years to see the true profit from SaaS. I agree with you. From what Andrew Toy was saying, he was almost saying like he's trying to sell it, right? But we'll see. I remember you spoke about SaaS potential with Clove a long time ago. I didn't buy that time. Yeah, no, I mean, it's yeah, we were one of the first folks to talk about it, um, 2 years ago, I think, and everyone was like, "Ah, get out of here," "Get out of here." No, but, but it shows you how long something like this can play out. I mean, guys, this is hard, just like what AI Doc was saying here, this is gonna take time, and I agree with you. Do I want it to take time? No. Excuse me, do you blame me? I don't want it to take time. Right? I want it now. I want it now. What are your thoughts on I haven't heard about him yet. I gotta look into it. Yeah, I mean, so for me, I have to really study a company and I have a little batting range where I like to bat what Warren Buffett was saying. And I have a good hits on some bats and some not. So I try to make sure that I try to bat in my circle of competence, if that makes sense. And you guys can kind of get it from my portfolio hedging modeling system. You can kind of see the stocks that, you know, like one great one, and I'm so proud of it, Wingstop. I mean, who would have thought a wing company is up 52% this year? A wing selling wings. Who would have known that a business in selling wings would outperform the whole market in an AI world where I was hoping, yeah, there it is. Where chicken wings can outperform the market. You know what I mean? And I also did Chipotle and all these things. I mean, look at this. Look, I mean, it's all in the history, guys. We called it out here. No, where the hell did we call it out? Year to date. Yeah, we called it around here, around 240-ish, and it's all in the port. It's all in the proof. The what we posted on. People on the stock terminal. You guys see it, right? You guys see everything, right? And yeah. So I like to bat in my circle of competence. So I have to look at it, kind of learn and all those things. Chipotle's doing good, not as good as Wingstop, 41%. But just know that Bill Ackman sold a little bit, as he should. He's one of the hedge funds that supports this one. Yeah. Oh yeah, they're doing stock split, eh? I think it's a great opportunity. Yeah, historically, do stock splits. Things like, for example, Nvidia. You know what's funny? CrowdStrike is up percent at the aftermarket, and I just want to give you kind of a little saying, a little rhyme. Amateurs open up the market, professionals close the market. Right? I'm going to say that again. Amateurs open up the market, professionals close the market. So this is not done by retail. These are institutional. But I think CrowdStrike is going to be added to the S. Wait, hold on, wait. Oh, here it is. CrowdStrike, GoDaddy to join benchmark. Oh, it did. All right, well, there it is. Okay, looks like it already has. Oh, there it is. Well, that's why, right? So was it 8 hours? Yeah, sounds about right. So yeah, so CrowdStrike is about to enter the S&P 500. If you don't recall, we were calling out, we were very excited on CrowdStrike. I mean, this thing fell to the floor, and this was a nice two bagger and a half, right? So you can look at the history of our, YouTube. We've talked about this company. We've done some analysis on them. We calculated the intrinsic value. I mean, it's all in there, guys, right? So 51 on the Chipotle. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of getting expensive. People, retail community doesn't understand that one share is the same, but once they drop it down, retail is going to get back in and it'll be fun. Hey, yeah, I love you, bro. Glad I caught you. Hey, man, I love you too. I love you too. Thanks for breaking it all down for us. Love the stream. Hey, it's good. I know, and I'm happy to have you guys here. I just really find it just interesting because, like, I started just really humbly and, working as a high school cafeteria cashier. Just today, I was in a meeting with some really influential people in the city of Tucson. We're talking government officials, people that, were working on something that can potentially save the city 50 to $75 million. Um, and I forget sometimes that I'm so equipped financially that I was talking. I'm like, we could do this and this and this, and the room was like, can you explain it a little bit more? We don't get it. In my mind, I'm like, how can you not see this? But I really, learning finance is one of the greatest gifts you can do, because if you understand how money works, if you understand how to successfully allocate capital, because you realize the government is a terrible allocator of capital. I mean, just look at how we spend, like a drunken sailor, right? So I think personally, learning about the stock market really makes you fully rounded. It helps you economically in terms of understanding, because it's all neuroscience to me, right? Because, like, it's really cool because when interest rates go up, spending habits change. It's like a brain. It's a really cool. It's like how people function on a macro brain level scale. Versus when interest rates drop down, changes in the behavior of the economy, businesses like to take on more risk, discount rate goes down. I mean, you can mathematically model people's behavior by basing off the intrinsic value of companies. And I find it so marvelous because, if you think about it, we are made, and I'm going to get really science here. I'm going to get really scientific here. Okay. So, if you look up what what makes us up, we got carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, right? We got, we're made up of just, some organic molecules, and we're made up of just a code, a programmable code of four DNA base pairs, A, T, C, G, with some RNA, right? Some RNA, right? And then we have some redundancies in the genetic code, and then that makes us. That's a code, right? And that's what makes us. And if we were to look at us in terms of the what makes us up as atoms, um, each atom, if you were to study an atom, I'm gonna make sense of this, guys, right? If we look at an atom, we can understand the exertional force of an atom by looking at the positive charges and negative charges of electrons, and create some form of a mathematical model to where if we look at two different charges from each other, we know that they have some type of and this is an atom here. There's some type of force involved. Okay. And if we were to look at the calculation, and Albert Einstein somewhat disproved this, but I still believe it stands. If you look at, you know, two charges separated by a particular distance, they influence a force on each other. So theoretically, a charge that's millions of light years away has an exertional force that is 0.00, because you remember, you can't divide a number by zero. So I went really too deep right now into science, but I just wanted to just point something out really interesting here. If we're made up of an atom that is mathematically modeled, that means that our cells are mathematically modeled, which is true. We can calculate bases and acidics, metabolic acidosis, alkalosis, and we can calculate Nernst potentials and signals in the brain. So if we were just to take this simple truth, okay, that this world is mathematically modeled, our atoms are mathematically modeled, we're made of atoms, that means our mind is mathematically modeled, which means that what we can conceive, we can achieve, right? So what we can conceive is what we can achieve. I'm just going to misspell it here. So this was a quote by Napoleon, I think. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. And I think because we're mathematically modeled, we can imagine some form of reality. And I'm not talking about aberrations like schizophrenia and whatnot. That's when you have a perturbance of the system. But what I'm trying to say is, if you have a dream, if you have a goal, there is some form of mathematical modeling. And I understand what Clover's trying to do here. And the mathematics here is quite interesting because they could save the taxpayer billions of dollars if this thing works out. So I hope this makes sense. What I just kind of went on a science rant here, but if the world is mathematically modeled and our atoms, which is what we're made up, is mathematically modeled, that means our brain's thoughts has some form of mathematical modeling. And we know that because the brain is made up of neurotransmitters. They're made up of sodium and potassium and calcium. All these signals in the brain cause some form of, we can measure that electrical unit, which then we can hook it up to a brain computer interface, which is what I did at Mayo Clinic and what Elon Musk is doing, and have someone control a computer through their thoughts, because it's all mathematically modeled. So if this is the case, then what you see in your brain, you can create in this mathematically modeled world, because we're all connected, because we are ourselves mathematically modeled, which is why I like intrinsic value calculations and really, numbers, because I find them really interesting. I mean, it's Friday night, and this is what I'm talking about, right? Most people now are getting drunk, and nothing against them. It's just, this is the life I like to live. I like to kind of really think about things, and and it's cool because there's a lot of capital that is going to be made because of these thoughts, which is really cool. And another thing is, a lot of people's lives are going to be saved. Early detection of diabetes, chronic kidney disease, and whatever. So it's really cool, right? Again, I normally don't like to flex my science here, but I felt like it was appropriate just to give you kind of my thoughts here. And I hope I was able to communicate it effectively. Sorry if I wasn't. It's just sometimes hard. But that's pretty much all I have for you guys. It's just a lot of good things are happening right now. I don't know. We might see some of these articles here. I personally think maybe, just maybe, we may be divorced from this meme stock thing. I mean, GME and AMC were up, and then Clover kind of was like staying a little bit chill. So, I think we may maybe have disassociated ourselves from the meme stock rally, and hopefully the SPAC bullshit thing. And also, Chamath said something stupid today on the All In podcast. Who's like, people invested in all these stupid companies and also SPACs. And I looked at him. I was like, dude, you're the one who was peddling the SPACs, because he had some other SPACs that I looked at where were really questionable, like the electrical bus company and whatnot. I don't know. He took some bets. I understand, but it's like, man, right? But again, I think you have to understand, Chamath is a poker player, so half of the things he says is bullshit, right? And the other half is, laced with bullshit. But I do see where he's coming from. I do like his social capital. I see his vision. I 100% believe he still believes in this company. He's just playing his poker chips right, because he knows there's a lot of excitement for Clover now. Sorry, who's confused? Sorry, who's confused? I talked about so many things right now. I don't know which one you're referencing, but with Chamath, he obviously knows what's happening right now. He's being quiet. He's trying to play his little bullshit poker thing. And I find it so cute, because as a neuroscientist, I know exactly what part of the brain is firing in his poker face. It's, I know exactly what part of the brain is lighting up and what's it connecting to. And it's so funny to see that's why it's so cute. I find it very cute. And it's funny because when you historically look at people on YouTube that talk about stocks and whatnot, I think they don't really have that much of an educational background that is pretty academically intense, like what I've done. So I think it's just kind of funny, because it's it's nice because I can share with you guys my thoughts, and kind of when I see bullshit. And I think that sentence was full of laced with bullshit, because he's just, that's his way of just kind of down regulating what's happening with Clover, because in his eyes, he wants that to happen, because he wants to make as much money as he can in money market indexes, before the Federal Reserve tapers down interest rates, so that $6 trillion gets plowed into um, the stock market. So it's all a cycle, guys. Oh yeah, Chamath. Yeah, no, he's just he knows what he's saying. Well, if you haven't watch the All In podcast, they just um, published another one, right? And I think that again, it's all speculation now. It's all speculation. I need to see the numbers for the SaaS, but based off of what Andrew Toy was saying, and Andrew Toy is the type of person that I believe in him. He says, that this is going to be pretty profitable. So I believe in him. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, that's it. Let's see here. So thanks for sharing your story. It's moving, inspiring. God bless you, my friend. One time he invested in GME and then he talked against it, and now he doesn't talk about. Yeah, honestly, it's Chamath has it's a big question mark, right? It's just kind of some discrepancies in terms of his generic theme. Understand that he is part of the establishment. He did also talk about how Tesla, was X, Y, and Z, and he was selling Tesla. So you have to understand that, and it's not like it's just Chamath. Warren Buffett sold Oxy during the pandemic. The only reason why he sold it was because so the government can give them loans, and for the government not to say, hey, go talk to Warren Buffett. He has money. That was his reason for selling, and he admitted that. What I'm trying to tell you is Wall Street is full of lies and deception. If you were to concentrate the evils of humanity into a potion of just deception, darkness, and lust and greed, it would be Wall Street. And as someone who's dedicated their life to heal, oh yeah, of course. And then I made a big deal about it. And then I spoke with Jason regarding my channel. And then I spoke with Jason, and Jason was like, oh, okay, we're sorry. And then they removed the strike. I'm like, no, I'm not I'm not going out with, I'm going to make a big punch line. And they're like, okay. Let's not hit the bee's nest here. Right. Yeah. So now I spoke with Jason, they removed it. So, I mean, it's going to take some time for this thesis to play out. Remember, every single day, 10,000 more Americans are turning 65. So it's not like, the music is stopping. There's a lot of elderly people, and every year, every other day, the 10,000 Americans have another chance of developing chronic. I mean, it's all mathematically modeled. Okay. And I think I guess I don't like feelings, but I think Roaring Kitty was saying this today, and I was like, yeah, I see. I don't like to use feelings, but I think feelings is a culmination of atoms firing, and not atoms firing, but brain cells firing, and just a slew of things that we call feelings that we can't really understand. But my gestalt is pointing me towards I'm very bullish about Clover, and there's just something about it that I could be wrong, but there's just something in there. So we're gonna look at it, and we're gonna follow it, guys, and we're gonna see. So hopefully we're right. Okay. So I remember, that one. Sorry, I feel like we all became so good team. I remember a lot of old stories. Yeah, no, we have, and that was the whole point about making YouTube channel. It was never about trying to get famous. It was never about trying to get wealthy off of subscribers. People do that. I've had a lot of sponsorships email me, a lot. I've had sponsorships reach out to me saying, I think I'll show you the email. It said like, we'll pay you some ridiculous amount, like $5,000 to just mention their company. And I'm like, what the frick? And it's not fake. It was real, So, But then I looked at it and I was like, would I buy something like this? And the answer was no. So why would I? So, the whole point of this channel is just ideally, it was for me to protect, trying to offer an opportunity for the lower class to learn about Wall Street. But I think it's more hitting the middle class, which is fine, and the upper class, which is fine. I don't have that it's helping people. That's all that matters. If you guys can kind of give me some ideas, I'm trying to help also the lower class, but like, how do you help the lower class about Wall Street? Because if you were to come to me many years ago, more than a decade ago, and you were to tell me you should go buy this stock and this, I'm gonna look at you. I'm gonna say, why don't you go F yourself? Many years ago, you should go F yourself, right? Right, like, right. So it's tough, So the whole point was just creating this channel to create a community of like-minded people. That's kind of the mission there, right? It's fun, right? Because I don't like going to bars. I I hate to say this, but I just don't like to be surrounded by stupid people. I that sounds so disrespectful, but like when I go to bars, I turn off because I hear the conversations people talk about, and my brain just wants to die, and it I just sucks. And this is bad for me because I don't turn off. I'm always on. But I just I'm happy that we were able to build this community because it's very stimulating and my brain's happy, if that makes sense. I do see that you don't talk about those clickbait photos like other channels start talking about. So we did a lot about we did talk about AMC and we were like showing the financials. There was a strong thesis for shorting, but the thing is the company diluted shareholders to oblivion. I mean, they destroyed the shit out of shareholders. I mean, it's all the AMC people just left. I mean, trades or one of them, they left. Sadly, Lou versus Wall Street passed away. That's sad. I poked fun at him. I had a good time with him. He was a funny guy. I liked him a lot. The Wall Street community is very funny. We, in the stock terminal, we've become so close to each other that, we share some things that we would never share with other people. And it's just to have that community. It's really cool. I mean, it is really cool. Right. And, to me, that's worth millions of billions of dollars to me. Right. That to me was that's worth a lot. Right. So anywho, guys, I hope this was helpful. I'm going to get back to studying. I know it's late, but that's just how the life is. I take a little break here and there, get back to work. I'm looking at skin diseases now. I missed a question. There was one. It showed kind of like a black necrotic core, eschar. And the question was like, there was multiple of them. So I'm an idiot. I chose a brown recluse spider bite, which is true. They do get eschar. But the answer was anthrax. So yeah, I'm reviewing skin. I'm a bit weak on the skin pathologies. So I'm reviewing that right now. And so that's, because I don't want to be a dermatologist, but when you take the board exams, they test you on those things. So I'm just reviewing that and whatnot. Right. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Lou is great. R.I.P. man. Rest in peace. Lou is great. All right, folks. Have a wonderful good night. I love each and every one of you guys. We got this. I still think Clover's near here, maybe simmering a little bit up here. Once it comes to the conscious, then we'll just sell covered calls and chill. And hopefully not get put in the money because then you get a bullshit tax. So you gotta be careful with that, right? But it's gonna be a fun 10 years, guys. The next 10 years is gonna be a wild journey, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. So go to occupational history. What was that? I need to look at what that is. Oh man, we did good, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Good night. Good night.